constantly hanging between the lines of good and bad. So maybe we resonate with that, and also pop culture also has a lot to do with it because good-looking people portray anti-heroes. Maybe that.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Team Cognify's YouTube channel. This time, we're covering criminal psychology under the lens of the anti-hero. So, let's take a look.
Am I under arrest?
For now.
I'm under arrest?
Yeah, I'll explain everything, but before I explain myself to you, before we talk to each other, I need to read your rights, okay?
What am I under arrest for?
Well, like I said, I need to read your rights first. Obviously, the charge is robbery, okay? Yeah, I'll explain
I'm
everything.
under arrest for robbery?
You are, but let me read your rights real quick, okay? And then I'll explain it all to you. Is that okay? You want me to do that real fast? All right, good. You ready with this reading, okay? Before we ask you questions, what your rights are. Your rights are taken with the law. Make sense? You've probably heard these before, haven't you? Does that make sense? Do you understand your rights? Do you understand your rights, Jeff? Yes or no? You understand? Do you understand what I read you? Do you comprehend what I read you?
Okay, good cop.
No, usually I'm the prick.
You look like the prick.
This is Jeff. Jeff is a heroin addict and has been for the last 14 years. He is 6'5", weighs 153 pounds, and has now found himself in the unfortunate circumstance of being charged with armed robbery. This is in the state of Georgia, so if found guilty, they will render him the minimum term of 10 years without parole, up to the maximum term of life in prison. Jeff has been through the system multiple times over, and he will know that if indeed found guilty, his sentence will be considerably longer than the minimum 10 years due to his previous convictions.
Jeff, do you understand your rights? Yes or no? I'm not asking if you want to talk to me at this point. I just wanted you to understand what I read to you.
So am I under arrest?
Yes, you're under arrest.
Get me back to the cell. I don't talk to you motherfuckers.
Okay, here we go. You want to go? Yeah. You want me to pop it open or you need me to?
Jeff has become somewhat of a cult figure in the domain of interrogation footage. His recognition seems to have grown through his own popularity, as opposed to the notoriety of his crimes, like most others. Conveying the exact reasoning behind this can be tricky, as the interest in this character will no doubt vary by the individual. Yet we found the most collective reason can be explained through a single pop culture reference: the anti-hero. While the concept is timeless, the actual term was created through the realm of modern cinema. There's a diverse number of characters passing through the decades that fit the criteria. Yet perhaps the most textbook example could be the protagonist from the 2003 feature Bad Santa, a middle-aged man simply known as Willie. This is a
So,
character.
why do you think that anti-heroes are more liked than the villains?
I think a lot of it has to has something to do with sympathy. We sympathize a lot with things that we feel similarity with, we resonate with. I don't think there may be enough people or many people who would think of themselves nearly as perfect as heroes are portrayed to be. We do have lots of negative bias. We do criticize ourselves a lot more. So maybe it has something to do with that because the anti-heroes are so morally gray. They are good and bad at the same time. There are no extremes that they follow. So maybe it has something to do with that because we can resonate with them. Okay, oh, we also have that element of anger, greed, or something like that. So maybe it has something to do with that.
So I feel anti-hero falls between villain and a hero. Like villain and heroes are two extremes of like good and bad. And anti-hero portrays both negative and positive aspects of a person, which reflects a reality. Like nobody is like entirely good or entirely bad. Like all of us have both positive and negative aspects. And if you see, like they usually portray anti-heroes, like doing good things, doing bad things, and then dealing with injustice. And like in the video, if you see, Jeff was dealing with injustice by the by the police, and like you would have seen that the police were reading out his rights, but they were still forcing him to speak. They told him you have all the right not to speak until you get a lawyer, but they were not giving him a lawyer and they were forcing him to speak. So and he stood up for himself. So that truly reflects like the injustice a common man faces in reality.
I truly agree with what Prakriti said, and according to me, like being an anti-hero, it gives them a dilemma of hanging between the good and the bad. Like it creates a more pressure and makes them more vulnerable. So at one moment they are very good in someone's eyes, and in one they are the bad. Like as given in the video, the example of a movie of the Bad Santa. So at one moment he was helping a child, and the other he was shouting on a child. So it creates a thread that they had to hang that, okay, either a good personality or a bad, so it makes them more confused of whatever, how do they have to portray themselves.
And to add to Soumya's point, it happens with most of us on a very regular basis. Like we are constantly hanging between the lines of good and bad. So maybe we resonate with that, and also pop culture also has a lot to do with it because good-looking people portray anti-heroes. Maybe that.
I also feel like adding on to everyone's points, I also feel like the prevalence of anti-heroes in media has increased very like a lot recently. I feel like one of my like the first time I've ever heard the term anti-hero explicitly was when describing Deadpool as like a character of how like his personality is so like it's so dark, it's so funny, but at the end of the day he's working to be a good person. And I feel like that really captures this like the essence of humanity as it is right now for all of us is that the world is kind of really just gone crazy, and we're just trying to maintain like a little semblance of doing good as much as we can while managing like those negative aspects. And like more examples that people have like related a lot to are like Fleabag, and I feel like even Davy from like Never Have I Ever. These are characters that do horrible stuff, but we still find a way to like we still see ourselves in them. And I feel like if we want to link it to like a psychology concept, if we take Jung's concept of the shadow, of like all of the aspects of ourselves that are like forbidden, that we are not allowed to look upon, that we hate ourselves, like it's really what also brings an edge or like a wholeness to one's character. And I feel like that's also what a lot of these anti-hero arcs also cover, is about confronting one's shadow and integrating that with the self. So that was what I wanted to add.
Throughout the whole conversation, all I could think about how I could I was thinking about a Bollywood movie which was relating to anti-hero because like in the clip it was Bad Santa, so I've not watched it. So I think the closest movie I could relate would be Doom 3. Like how Amir Khan to revenge his father's death, he took a path which was not morally correct, but I feel somewhere we all were like, yes, go avenge your father's death. So yeah, that would be my addition.
And also in media culture, there is a way of showing a part of the anti-heroes that as humans you're bound to resonate with, you're bound to sympathize with. Heroes maybe not so much. Maybe in Doom 3 there was no backstory for the police, but for for Amir Khan's character there was. So maybe the portrayal also has a lot to do with it.
Portrayal, just like Ritu said, that how anti-heroes are portrayed in a picture plays an important role and a major role on how we are perceiving anti-heroes. So that is definitely a strong point.
Also, like, where do we draw the line between hero, I mean, like, anti-hero and villain? Like, there's been so many reboots from Disney of their villains and retelling their story, especially with, like, Maleficent. So, like, in the same thing, which is also the point that Ritul brought up about how they're portrayed in the movies, we're going into the environmental factors that influenced why they are who they are. And like especially with like Maleficent, we get her whole backstory of how she was betrayed and now how she wants to take revenge. And like I think maybe the line between anti-hero and villain is not only knowing the context, but also knowing that they're trying. They're trying to be a little better, because even like when we can see proof that they're like under the surface there's still some good in them. And I feel like another example would be like House, like House MD. He's on the surface he's very abrasive and rude and mean, but at the end of the day he's trying to help his patients, he's trying to do what's best for them without getting emotionally attached. So when we know that the intention is good, we're more likely to see people not as black and white as hero and villain.
So I feel that like when it comes to heroes, we show only the good side of them, and when it comes to villains, we show only the bad side of them. But there's like two sides to every coin, and when it comes to anti-heroes, we show both the good and bad side. So if they do something that's conventionally bad. They show the reasons behind it, like what was the reason that they engaged in such a behavior. So this gives us a whole picture, and due to this, we can relate to them more and understand them better, rather than the one-sided picture which usually they give to heroes and villains.
With relation to Jeff, while many of us can't relate to the feeling of being addicted to heroin for well over a decade, we can certainly understand the feeling of sadness. He responds to this very moment is quite literally the precursor to his entire future. He is at a crossroad moment in life, where on one side is the possibility of hope, and on the other side is the outright guarantee of despair. The long-term path he goes down will be the consequences of the short-term choices he makes, all of which have to be judged and decided on while going through the early stages of heroin withdrawal.
I need methadone.
You need methadone?
Yeah, you guys can get me that methadone or what?
I don't have any. Do you have medication for it, or a prescription for it? Or?
No.
What do you need methadone for?
Because I'm a fucking junkie and you guys, I can't get no methadone. I'm gonna go through withdrawal here in a minute.
Where do you usually get your methadone from?
I don't get it. I get heroin.
So, do you guys feel that Jeff is trying to manipulate the police or maybe gaslight them into thinking that maybe Jeff didn't do it? They obviously know that Jeff did it. They obviously think that Jeff did it. But do you think he's trying to gaslight them?
I wouldn't really say gaslighting. I would say like he's definitely manipulating them. Like he's getting his Butterfingers, he's getting his Coca-Cola. He's just it's a protective thing also. Like he's just trying to deny as much as he can in that situation.
According to me, not Jeff, but the police is trying to manipulate him, and he's being smart. Like he's being smart and he's defending himself. The police is definitely trying to manipulate him, but he's standing on his ground and not giving it away. So that is what I feel.
And also he was giving very short answers, like one word or two word answers. And there was a moment in the video where he said a sentence and then he stopped immediately. Maybe he realized that he's saying much more, or police can get something out of him, or whatever was the situation. But he was trying to minimize his response so that it could be short and crisp, and it doesn't get molded into gaslighting or manipulating or something like that.
I feel like gaslighting is such a reality warping thing. And also if we take Jeff's situation, he's going through heroin withdrawal. I don't think someone could cognitively plan out how to gaslight someone in that situation, because it requires someone to actively like literally alter someone's perception of how they thought by continuously lying to them. All I see is that he's just trying to deny as much as he can while really just going through withdrawal.
So while suffering with those withdrawal symptoms, he can manipulate, but he cannot gaslight.
Yeah, I feel like he's just denying, and he's as Soumya said, he's limiting he's just safeguarding himself. He's defending himself.
Talk to you about what happened last night. Look, here's the deal. Either you're in a bad set of circumstances, or you went and committed an armed robbery last night.
Yeah, right? I'm in a shitty, wrong place at wrong time, obviously. I didn't commit no fucking armed robbery.
All right, then let's talk about this. Let's
I
not keep up
I don't
the
talk
act.
to the police, man.
I think.
So, do you believe Jeff? Like, did he actually commit the crime, or were there maybe some circumstances leading to his behavior?
I think that maybe some of the crimes have been committed because since he was on the drugs and the withdrawal symptoms and everything, like something or the other has happened. Like it is for sure, because substance abuse it can lead to substance abuse and other things. But I'm not sure of which crime and on what rate. Like since he was addicted to drugs, and substance abuse can lead to psychotic episodes also. So like it can be the reason. Maybe he was not sure that he has committed the crime or not, or maybe denying. So yes, that was my point.
Okay, according to me, I feel that he would have committed a few crimes because, firstly, he was a drug addict. So, under the influence of heroin, he could have committed. And also, if he was truly not guilty, he would have denied the crimes. And like, if he's guilty, so obviously he won't accept it. And and he's also being smart by not just blatantly denying it. Also, he is, not he's refusing not to disclose anything, so that can be a sign that he committed the crime, but he's being smart enough not to, like, give in to them, because he knows that the police doesn't have evidence. If he didn't commit the crime, then he could have, denied, like, no, I didn't do them. But since he might have committed those, that's why he didn't just deny it.
I feel that, like Prakriti said, he must have committed some crime, but okay, like subjectively, if you ask, the ending, it was very, it was open-ended ending. So it leaves you to your own, how you really, process everything. So I believe that yes, he would have committed some crimes, but armed robbery, it's a pretty big crime. So if it would have been armed robbery, he would have not been, put in a cell. Obviously, ज़्यादा security होती उधर. And if you ask about his future, I honestly, like personally, I was not able to deduce what really happened with him. Like, yes, he was being smart, but not like, not, falling. See, because police can also be, they can be clever. Like, they're police for a reason, so they know कि हाँ, this person, he has a history, so it's easy to, make him fall in the trap. But I think that Jeff was being smart enough to not get into that thing. But very honestly, I have no idea how he would have ended up. Like, he could have either gone with his addiction, or या फिर वो sober हो जाता. So
I think that the question about the entire point of the entire video was not if he did it or if he didn't do it. I think the entire point was what Joshita just summed up, that it could not be deduced what just happened. What was he trying to do? What were the police trying to get out of him? I think it's a classic case of criminal psychology, but what happened actually in there? Even I was like, throughout the video, I was like, what is happening? What is he trying to do? What are the police trying to do? What is happening and all that? I think the entire point was that, and I think we as viewers of the video would not be able to, you know, come to a conclusion कि हो क्या गया, you know. So that is what I think.
We hope you found the video interesting and informative. Please leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. See you next time!